Okay, this is P1 from January 2022, question 2, and as you can see, this is quadratics. It's going to be completing the square to start off with. I think we've got to do a little sketch after that. So let's get started. Part A, completing the square. I've got fx is equal to 11 minus 4x minus 2x squared. Hopefully if you're okay at completing the square, you realise we can't complete the square on something of this format. So what I need to do first of all is take minus 2 out as a factor so that I've just got x squared, and then whatever ends up being left with that, divide it by minus 2 and minus 11 over 2 there. I can now complete the square on that part. You'll all probably have different methods for completing the square. So my one is where I take the 2, I half it, square it, and then I add it on and take it off. Sounds quite complicated, but my whole idea is to get that being a perfect square, which it is now, and not change anything. Obviously, if you add 1 squared and take 1 squared off, you're not changing anything. You might need to go back and watch another video just on completing the square if you struggle with that. That then tidies up to x plus 1 all squared there, and minus 13 over 2 if I combine the minus 1 squared and the minus 11 over 2. And then just be careful with this, they quite often do that. If we look at the format and the way they want it, I can't leave it like this yet. I've actually got to multiply this bracket out now, which is going to give me plus 13. And now that does look, if you want to be really accurate, you can put it that way round. But that's now the format they want. A is equal to 13, B is minus 2, and C is equal to 1 there. So what's the whole point of completing the square? It helps with solving equations, it helps with finding the maximum and minimum, we'll use one of those, and it helps with sketching. Let's go ahead and do part B. For part B, they've given us a blank here, so let's just put a set of axes on. Curve sketching, quite a big topic in Pure, so go back and look and see what they're asking for. They're saying sketch the graph, so that's the shape, and only show the coordinates where it crosses the y-axis. So it means I've got a little bit less work to do here. I know what a negative x squared looks like, so it's going to be something like that. Excuse me. This part here is really helpful for telling me where the maximum point or minimum point, in this case it's a maximum, is going to be, because that occurs, that occurs when x equals minus 1. When x equals minus 1, all that bit in there will be naught, so I'll end up with 13. So I know that when I'm going to be trying to put this on now, they haven't asked me to label it, but I actually know now that that maximum point there is minus 113. So that really helps me with where my graph's going to be placed. What they said was, can you tell me, so y and x, they said, can you tell me where it hits the y-axis? So if it hits the y-axis, let's just do this formally. Fx is equal to 13 minus 2 x plus 1 squared, and the y-axis is where x equals 0. So if x equals 0, I get 13 minus 2 lots of 1, which means I get 11. So that value there is now 11 on my graph. So quick check, 2 marks. One of those marks is going to be for the shape of the curve. The other one pretty much is going to be for where it's hitting the axis. And then part C, I think I've already alluded to this, write down the line of the equation of the line of symmetry. Well, we've already done this. The line of symmetry there. For line of symmetry, if I go back to fx equals 13 minus 2 x plus 1 squared, it's when x equals minus 1, line of symmetry. down the middle there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you all.